Bunny Tears. What's crackin', Bunny Boilers? My name is Bunny Tears. Welcome to yet another story time with Bunny Tears, this time entitled Carnival Bush Monsters. Now, I bet you're wondering what the hell that is. So am I just kind of made it up on the spot. But as always, first thing is first, this is Payday 2, strangely. I know I haven't actually put up a Payday 2 video yet, but this is Payday 2. I'm going to start doing commentaries over Payday 2. This particular job is called Ukrainian Job, where the idea is to steal a tiara for a certain person, as well as stealing as much jewelry as you can to make as much money as possible. So enjoy that. This is Payday 2. It's pretty sick, pretty fun. And this particular game, I just about made it in action hero style. I thought I was going to die. I pretty much did die, but I made it somehow. So you're going to be watching that, but let's move on to the story. Now, for those of you that don't already know, Storytime with Bunny Tears is a series that I do to just tell you stories from my life. Now, there hasn't been one of these in a while, and you may be mistaken in thinking that that's because my upload schedule has been trying to get fixed this whole time. However, that's not really why there hasn't been a Storytime with Bunny Tears. It's more because I have an extremely boring life, and I have no stories to tell. But luckily, something did happen quite recently that led to a story, so I'm going to tell you that. There's this thing that goes on around my area, a couple of streets away, called Notting Hill Carnival, okay? Now, this is basically a time where, if I'm honest, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people just walk the streets, getting drunk, doing drugs, and listening to reggae music while eating jerk chicken. That's essentially the entire of Notting Hill Carnival summed up in one sentence. That's all it is. Now, I don't usually like Carnival that much, except for the chicken, because I don't like big spaces full of people, which I hate crowds. I just hate crowds. So usually what we'll do, me and my friends will hit it up early, we'll listen to some music, eat some jerk chicken, and get the fuck out of Dodge before all the crowds come. However, this year, I was invited to one of my workmates' houses. My workmates as in my new job. So one of the guys from my new job, he has a house that apparently was right in the middle of Carnival. So he said, you need to come round. It's a crazy great time. You've got your own space. The crowd is on the street right in front of you. You can see all of the mayhem, but you're not in it. So I said, okay, that sounds pretty hilarious to me. So I went, and the place that this story started off at was myself and Shudley Moore and his girlfriend, okay? Now, we went to Carnival early like we usually do every year to avoid the crowds. We go to Carnival early, we eat our jerk chicken, we have a few drinks, and we listen to some music. And then, when they're heading off home, I decide, okay, I'm going to head off to my workmate's house now, see what the crack is there. So me and one of my friends decide, let's go to his house. However, I had never been to this workmate's house before, from this direction at least. I'd been there like 2 times before, but from a completely different direction. So, I tried to go in the same direction. However, I had also been pretty drunk both of those times. So, what happened was, we started in Notting Hill Carnival, and we walked for 3 hours before we ever came close to the house. So after 3 hours, I realized, okay, I don't know where the fuck we are. I think we're lost, my friend. So we call up my other friend, the guy who has the house at Carnival. We're like, okay, where the hell do you live? We're here. And he's like, what? How the hell did you get over there? So we eventually did make it to the house like 5 hours afterwards. And it ended up, where we started was literally 1 street away from his house. It would have taken us about a minute to get there, but we got lost for 3 hours instead. But that's not the highlight of this story. You want to hear about the bush monsters. So, during Carnival, myself, there's about a group of 12 of us at this guy's house. Mostly females, but a couple of guys there as well. And we are just drunk. So, we are ridiculously drunk. So at the end of the night, when it all dies down, Carnival is finished, apparently one of this guy's neighbors does a house party every year and plays this amazing music. People just come around, pay an entrance fee, and that's how he makes his money each year. Now we're sitting there in the garden, no light whatsoever, listening to this music, just drinking, having a great time, talking with each other, and while we're sitting there mid-conversation, what actually happens is we start hearing this noise. Now, we're in his garden, okay? So his garden is surrounded by bushes, and then on the other side of those bushes are other people's gardens. So we're sitting there, and suddenly we start hearing this rustling coming from the bush. Now, no one really pays much attention to it. It's just a bit of rustling. There's a lot of music going on. There's a lot of people talking because the party is a couple of doors down. So we just carry on drinking, carry on enjoying our conversation. But then this rustling gets louder and louder and louder. And eventually it gets to the point where we all just get silenced. We're not talking anymore. We're all looking into the darkness at this bush that is now violently shaking. And no one has any idea what to do. We think some kind of bear is going to jump out of this bush and just chomp people up. But eventually, after about a minute of this bush shaking violently, a beautiful woman climbs out of the bush, walks across the garden, past us on the table, waves hello, and carries on going and jumps through the bush on the other side. Now, my friend who owns this house is sitting there, silent. No one has said a word. We just sat there in confusion, and then guess what else happens? The bush starts fucking shaking again. So the bush is shaking again. We all then turn again back to this bush, thinking, what now? And yet another beautiful woman climbs out of this bush, walks straight past the table, waving hello again, and climbs into the other bush. You would think that would be crazy enough. This carried on for about 8 women, one of them whom had fucked her leg up because she was climbing through bushes, and the only explanation we got was, oh yeah, we're just going to the house party. The street is about 20 meters away from these gardens. Why didn't you just go out the front of the house, down the street, and in the door, rather than climbing through all of these bushes? But a couple of the girls stuck around, sat down at the table, we had a bit of a chat with them, it was okay. Some of them started climbing the wall between the gardens, and like walking up the wall until they were like 10 feet in the air. Now obviously they were off their tits drunk, so we had to kind of stop them and be like, excuse me, miss, first of all, who the hell are you and why are you climbing out the bushes and scaring the shit out of us like that? And second of all, come down, because you're gonna die if you fall from there. That's a 10-foot wall and you are clearly drunk. So we got the girls down, we got them through the next bush into the party, and we all sat down wondering, okay, that never happens. You never get to tell a story where 8 beautiful women, one by one, climb out of the darkness through a bush and just casually walk past you in your garden as if nothing is happening. Now, I wish I could say I was surprised, but at the years I've been at Carnival, I've seen some pretty fucking crazy shit, and that was probably one of the most sensible things I've ever seen while I'm there. So yeah, I guess that's a story time for now. I'm sure I have a number of other stories from Carnival I can tell you at some point in the future. And my life isn't actually that boring. I can tell you as many story times as you want. But if there's a certain period of my life you want to hear about, make sure you hit it in the comment section below. Or you message me. I don't mind either one. You can hit me up on Facebook or Twitter as well. And I'll pick that period of my life, find something interesting to say, and send it your way. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Bunny out, bitches! What's cracking, Bunny Ballers? My name is Bunny Tears.